Hello?
Yeah, we're having fun watching movies.
Welcome to another show. We're going to be talking about surveillance, the invasion into the targeted individual's life, and whether they are led to believe that it is constant, whether it is covert, maybe a pinhole camera that has been installed in their dwelling. Someone has added some technological equipment to a smoke detector. The infiltration of a nanorobot inside the vents of their dwelling, an audio device, the TV, the stereo. You just never know. Technology gives way to a lot of possibilities. Many targeted individuals feel they are being surveilled by aerial vehicles, drones, or even being watched by satellite, wherever they go. Maybe you're one of those targeted individuals who's even on the run right now. You found yourself a hotel, but no matter where you go, they're either waiting for you or right behind you. And if you're one of those targeted individuals who experiences the higher forms of harassment, it transcends logistical possibilities. And as if those things wouldn't be bad enough, there are targeted individuals who believe their very thoughts are being monitored. That people with the powers of telepathy or highly technologically advanced equipment are reading their minds. Targeted individuals who find themselves in these situations are dealing with highly sophisticated, directed conversations, innuendos, and street theater. Of course, not all gang-stalking scenarios are alike. Some individuals believe they're dealing with the government, others a secret society, and yet others are dealing with the occult, which opens up other possibilities. Sometimes people are led to believe that individuals are using astral projection to monitor them or even invade their dwelling. Whatever scenario the targeted individual finds themselves in, they're always led to believe the same thing, that they're always being watched, that they are being scrutinized, especially in times of privacy or vulnerability. The targeted individual is taken captive and thrusted forward into the public view, feeling exposed, naked, and ashamed. It's a classic methodology involved in all gang stalking. It is a trauma-based infiltration into the mind and the psyche of the targeted individual. The reality of surveillance for the targeted individual is definitely one of the most intense things that they're going to deal with. It is a sink or swim moment for the targeted individual. And now that we've gone through all these things, I'm going to talk about what to do and how to deal with it. Okay, and we could argue, we could say, oh, it's technology, or we could go into the spiritual aspect. We could go into science, and we could hypothesize all these things. Are people really reading your mind? Do they have telepathic powers? Do they have technology? It's irrelevant, okay? It is. And that's really what you need to grasp immediately, okay? Whether you're being haggled by groups of people, individuals at your workplace, in your family, it doesn't matter. Okay? There is a natural violation here. And it's something that you shouldn't be ashamed about. And I've talked about that before. Okay? And so what's going on? Yeah, it's only natural for someone to have that need for privacy. Whatever the scenario, it's the same reason that people close the door when they're using the restroom or pull the shades down when they're changing their clothes. Okay, and then, there's always people out there that have a pathology that want people to look at them or something. That's weird, though. That's not natural. Okay, this whole thing is based on a fundamental reality, and any of the people involved that are haggling you, though they're the same way, and for them to make fun of you or to enter into this scenario and act like it's no big deal or whatever, of course it is. You don't do that, and I've talked about that. Okay? If anyone is invading your privacy in that way, whether they're, getting you to believe something or actually doing it, maybe watching you take a shower, watching you in your private moments in your house, maybe with a partner or something like that, sleeping, whatever. It doesn't matter. They're the ones that need to be ashamed. Okay? That's what you need to figure out first. Okay? Anybody in their right mind would have a problem with that. Just the very fact that you have to go back and establish that just shows you the surreal existence of the targeted individual. I mean, the world that you live in as a targeted individual is completely different from the world that other people live in. It's like the rules change for you, okay? Everybody else gets respect. They have their Second Amendment rights or whatever, and people are talking about the Constitution, right? But if you're a targeted individual, it doesn't matter. They can invade your privacy. They can tamper with your food. They can fume you. They can attack you with electronic devices. They can put implants in your body. They can, do all kinds of things, gaslight you, subject you to workplace harassment, put you out on the street. It doesn't matter. None of it applies. And that's what I mean. That's why you have to establish it, because a targeted individual can get lost in this stuff. You start thinking it's okay. No, it's not. But the other thing that you have to remember is that this has a motive. Okay, it's shame-based. It's trauma-based. There's a technique behind it, and it's not to say that the individuals involved in this are not getting off on it. Oh, they are. There's some sick puppies. Yeah, they are. But that's not the point. The point is there is a motive, and that is to subject you to trauma and get you all freaked out. And I've talked about before that, targeted individuals end up experiencing all kinds of different effects from this harassment. Even though gangstalking is cowardly, it is illegal, it's evil, it's despicable, it's disgusting, it is very effective, okay? It is very effective at bending the mind of the victim, okay? And what happens when someone gets attacked in multiple locations, with directed conversations, with innuendos, with personal information? Wherever the target goes, well, what are they going to start thinking? Oh, man, everybody knows my business, right? And what's going to happen? Well, they're going to start processing information that way, right? It might be something that's, completely unrelated to gangstalking. Maybe the individual just runs into someone who's a poor communicator, and they're just kind of being confusing in a conversation. Maybe it's in a convenience store, a laundromat, at work, wherever, it doesn't matter. And you're thinking, what the hell is this person talking about? But what's the targeted individual going to immediately do? Oh, I get it. They're trying to insinuate something, aren't they? Must be some kind of an innuendo. I heard a couple key words. Oh, I see what it is. It's a game. You're one of them. And maybe not. But the point is that the targeted individual is going to start processing information that way, right? They're going to process everything personally, right? Whether someone looks at them, whether they got one headlight, whether they're wearing a red shirt, whether they see an airplane fly overhead, whatever. It doesn't matter what it is, because it's all about them. They feel like they're on the Truman Show. They feel like everybody's after them. Everybody is watching them. Everybody is, just sneaking around, trying to figure out what they're doing, trying to find out what they're thinking, invading their personal space and their life. It's simply a natural reaction to what they're experiencing. It's nothing to be ashamed of, but it's one of those things that you have to recognize, because if you don't, you're in trouble, okay? So like I said, it doesn't matter whether someone is using a pinhole camera, whether they've gotten information from some other place. It doesn't matter whether they're watching you or not. It doesn't matter whether they can read your mind or whether they have some type of, technological device that's deciphering your brainwaves. It doesn't matter. You know why? Because you're no different than anyone else. They're going to try and bend your mind. They're going to try and get you to think that it's okay for them to do these things, or that you're some kind of freak, or that you're different than everybody else, and that's why they do these things to you. But it's not true. It's not. You're just like anyone else. Okay? And you have to put the shame where it belongs. These people are the ones that need to be ashamed. You gotta let that stuff go. It's a chain reaction, and I've talked about that before. It's like the old don't think of pink elephants, right? And that's another thing that happens to targeted individuals, especially when they get that higher form of harassment and they believe that people are, kind of invading their mind, right? And then they can't even think because, all this stuff is designed to short circuit you. Right? So you can't function, you can't think, you can't work, you can't carry on a conversation, you can't process information. It's like one big monkey wrench in the system. It's meant to hinder you, to shut you down, and eventually to destroy you. But you know what else it's easy to forget? The midst of all this stomping around you, harassing you, terrorizing you, ruining your life, micromanaging you, is that, they're bullying you, okay? And, we all know what that means, right? It means they're weak. They can't find significance in their own lives without playing into this group dynamic and using you as a scapegoat. Denying all those fundamental realities that we talked about. We all know what's right, don't we? You can't forget that, okay? Because they need those things. They have to do these things. They can't find significance in just doing something good or, minding their own business. They have to have their fingers all over in your stuff because they can't keep to themselves. They really have no natural ability to enjoy anything, control anything, or find significance in something that's normal. It's just a fact of the matter. That's who they are. They're weak. They're freaks. And for you to be scared of what they think of you is ridiculous. You have to see the manipulation on this, guys, okay? And that's one of the reasons why I tell people not to react. Don't try to confront a gang stalker. Don't give them any emotional response whatsoever, okay? Because that's what they feed on. That's part of their control, all right? Being acknowledged, playing into their little game, right? Whatever it is, it doesn't matter, okay? There's that one video where you're supposed to go up and ask gang stalkers if they're brown nosers because now you're showing them that I figured you out. How special, right? And then what are they going to do? Well, they're going to know that what they're doing is working because you're getting upset. You're trying to insult them. It's a pathetic attempt to try to control the situation because you are in control already. You don't need to play a little game like that. You don't need to acknowledge them in any way, shape, or form because this is about manipulation. It's about getting you angry. It's about making you afraid. It's about making you ashamed. It's about controlling you. Moving you around, getting you to pay attention, distracting you, conditioning you, sensitizing you, changing the way that you process information, and ultimately altering who you are. Some of you might say, well, aren't you going to show us how to find the hidden cameras and the audio devices? And, well, first of all, RF radiation doesn't come off a device that's turned off. And a lot of these things can be accessed remotely via Wi-Fi or a hotspot and turned on and off, okay? It might not even be that. It might be something else. There's a lot of ways that this stuff can happen. Watch the other videos. My point in this video is it doesn't matter. Okay? You got to quit worrying about this stuff. You got to quit worrying about something that, shouldn't even be happening. Right? And that's the plight of a targeted individual. Right? Somehow it's normative and okay for people to invade your life and watch you while you're doing your most intimate private things and minding your own business. That's not right. It's never going to be right. And it's not something that you should worry about. I don't care. You shouldn't be worrying about what you're thinking. Don't let them invade your mind and turn you into a nervous wreck, to where your brain is malfunctioning and all these, paranoid thoughts are running through your head and you're speculating and you're worried and you're paranoid. No. You don't need to worry about these people. They're weak. They're freaks. They're pathetic. And anyone who is involved in this whole thing is not worth the time. It's not worth the effort. It's not. The only way you're going to win this is if you realize that. You need to take a vacation from worrying about that. Who cares if people are watching you? You got to get over it. They're the freaks. They're the ones that should be ashamed. Be good to yourselves. Be safe.